Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the channel. My name is Mark Roden, and today we are going to be going over the top 8 cars that we all want to see back in the car community. Really quick, leaving down in the comments. I know there's a ton of cars that we all want back, so leave some in the comments. Like, for example, here's one that's not going to be in today's video, but I guess you can call it an honorable mention. The MR2. There are so many cars out there that are amazing that are gone now, and we want them back. So let me know in the comments what car you want to see back the most. But without further ado, let's get right into the video with number 8. All right, coming in at number 8 is going to the Toyota Chaser. The Toyota Chaser went through actually a lot of different generations, had a bunch of different looks to it. But the one thing that they were always was 4-door cars. They were always these 4-door, big boy, long boy sedans, pretty much Supras, but with 4 doors on them. And they were reliable as hell, had plenty of space for all your homies, and was an absolute sleeper before everybody knew about what the Toyota Chaser could do. But before everybody knew about the Toyota Chaser being just a Supra, you were getting people like, oh my gosh, this is another Toyota sedan. But they were gapping folks because they didn't know, oh my god, it comes with a 1JZ. Would you do that? And if they did that again, with something and yeah, I know that nowadays Toyota's putting BMW engines in their Supra, but just imagine if they made another sedan with another B58 in it, and they called it the Chaser. The world would go nuts, okay? Now, we did never get a Toyota Chasers in America. We never were sold the Toyota Chaser, so you might not even know about these cars. You might not know they exist. You might not be too acquainted with them, but trust me, they are amazing cars, and we need to see the Toyota Chaser come back. They also left on such a high note, too. The last gen, the JZX 100 Toyota Chaser, was just so amazing, and then they just dipped. It makes me sad. All right, coming in at the number 7 spot is going to a car that I think people just massively sleep on. It is the Ford Escort. Any real version of the Ford Escort, but I'm going to talk about the Cosworth RS, the RS Cosworth, whatever you want to call it, the most in this one, because that's my favorite generation of the Escort, but really any Escort is amazing. Sadly, they died out after the Focus kind of took over its place in rally racing. The Focus is now their main focus in rally racing, so they just got rid of the Escort, and it hurts. It really hurts. When they were in their prime, they were ridiculously cool. Now, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they still make Escorts in some other countries, but they're nowhere near as cool as they once were. They're not performance vehicles at all. There's nothing cool about them at all whatsoever nowadays, when I think they need to go back to that. What made them so cool was the average guy could buy one and just feel like a rally race car driver, and it was amazing. Now, at first, yeah, they're not the best looking, but they're super easy to make beautiful, and that's everything about the Escort was the perfect it was a tuner's car, but for rally racers, and it was amazing. It's the reason why they love the Volvo 240 so much. It's the same reason as why they love the Escort. And with the Mini Cooper with the rally racers, it's the same reason why they love that car so much. And they just got rid of it for no reason. Coming in at number 6 is one that definitely, it's a recent one. This one recently hurt all of us. It is a Mitsubishi Eclipse. Back when Mitsubishi was building bangers in the freaking 90s, they had the Eclipse. And the Eclipse was one of their flagship sports cars back in the day. There was the EVO and the Eclipse. Those were the 2 Mitsubishis that everybody talked about, and it was great. First gen was amazing. Second gen is arguably one of the best freaking JDM cars of all time. Third gen was mediocre, but it was still at least a sports car, and same with the 4th gen. And then they were oh, you know what? These guys really like these cars, you know? They're really fun little sports cars that you can turn into a race car if you wanted to. Let's change it to a crossover SUV. Yeah, let's put it into a crossover SUV. And now technically the 5th generation of the Eclipse is an actual SUV, and it actually pains me to say that. Why? Why did they do that? Why did they go that route? I understand if you want to sell SUVs and you want to use the Eclipse name to get more sales, but that doesn't even make any sense, because the people that are buying Eclipses aren't buying Eclipse Cross SUVs, okay? You're just selling these Eclipse Cross SUVs to people that will buy an SUV no matter what the name is. So why did you even make it the name Eclipse? It makes no sense, and bring back the actual fun Eclipses, Mitsubishi, and maybe you'll become a company that's worth talking about again. Coming in at number 5 is one that your father is probably going to be very heartbroken about. It is the whole brand of Pontiac. Listen, a lot of people on my channel are young people. They might not understand what makes Pontiac so great. Well, I'm going to tell you. By the way, this also can go for Plymouth as well, because Plymouth was also a pretty sick company too, and then they just got rid of that. So, and same with Mercury, even if you're a Ford guy. But either one of those 3 sister companies to Chevy, Ford, or Dodge, mainly Pontiac in my opinion, though, should come back. Let me explain. These cars were pretty much beefed up versions of already beefy cars. So like the Firebird, for example, a lot of people don't know this, but the Firebird is just a beefier version of the Camaros of the time. And the GTO actually wasn't a beefier version of anything. That was its own car, but like still, it had the GTO, it had the Fiero. They were amazingly fun cars. And the best part about Pontiac is it was all relatively cheap too. You could, once again, just like the freaking Escort, a normal guy could afford to buy a Firebird. A normal guy could afford to buy a GTO or a Pontiac Fiero. And then they were just like, let's get rid of it for no reason. I understand. I actually do get the reason why. It was because in the mid 2000s, muscle cars weren't really all the craze anymore. Not a lot of people were buying them. And so they kind of just were like, okay, well, we don't need this anymore. And so they got rid of them. But now that people are buying muscle cars again, bring back Pontiac. I understand that it's like, oh, well, we already sold it to this company. Buy it back. I'm sure you could buy it back for pretty cheap because it's not doing anything. Coming in at the number 4 spot is going to the Honda S2000. Really quick before we even get into this one, I want to say if I seem like I'm all over the place today, it's because I am. I did write a script for this video, trust me. There's a script here. Actually, it's a very decently detailed script. But this video, for some reason, is just making me furious, and I'm just completely going off the script. This is just all Mark wrote in rant thoughts, pretty much. So if it seems like it's all over the place, that's why. But let's talk about the Honda S2000. It really wasn't around for a very long time, but it left a massive mark, and I think that absolutely is saying something about the car. It was amazing. It's everything about Hondas stuffed into an actual sports car, and they were kind of like, they kind of made the Honda S2000 to prove themselves as a company that's like, yeah, we could do that too, we just don't want to. And they did it successfully. Like everybody else is making these track cars that are rear-wheel drive and higher horsepower, and Honda makes front-wheel drive cars with lower horsepower that handle really well. And so everybody's probably like, oh, Honda can't make themselves a nice, fun rear-wheel drive like Sunday car. No, they can't do it. So they were like, okay, well, here's a Honda S2000. We can do it, but we're just going to keep sticking with what we do best, and that's these front-wheel drive cars. And the Honda S2000 was a phenom. Everybody wants a Honda S2000, even today. They literally never like dropped below the $10,000 mark. They were always an expensive car. They never depreciated really. Like they obviously depreciated a little bit, but never that bad at all. And that's a good thing, Honda. So if people are buying the car that much, and people are still talking about it that much today, maybe you should bring it back. I get that you're, oh, we're Type R boys now. We got the Honda Civic Type R. We're making this new Acura Integra. We're all about the front-wheel drive life. But give us a damn S2000. We'll be just one rear-wheel drive car. That's all we ask. Coming in at 3rd place is a car that hit all of us very, very hard. I don't think there's anybody out there that's happy about this car leaving. It is the Mitsubishi EVO. As of right now, the Subaru WRX STI is also being discontinued, and we do need those back. But I have a funny feeling that WRX STI is going to come back in like a couple years, so I'm not really going to worry too much about that right now. But the EVO is gone. It's been gone for a while, and it's gone. And it was literally the last thing that Mitsubishi had in its lineup. And Mitsubishi is just a dead brand of car guys now. Think about it. What does Mitsubishi make nowadays that's cool? Nothing. There's not a thing out there that Mitsubishi makes that's cool. The EVO was the last remaining fighter for Mitsubishi, and the EVO was amazing too. It was a freaking rally car that gave the Subaru a run for its money. They looked great. They had a 4G63 in them, which was ridiculously good for making power, one of the best inline fours of all time, arguably. And even the EVO 10 was a very good car. Like a lot of people say that the EVO 10 was a letdown from the previous generations, and I'm gonna leave that up to you. If you don't like the EVO 10, then you don't like the EVO 10. Personally, I do. But either way, it was still a good car. It was an amazing car. It was all-wheel drive. It looked great. It had a very decent engine, even though it wasn't a 4G63. And it was amazing. And yeah, it probably didn't sell that great, but that's because you were going into the 2010s, man. It was directly after the 2008 stock market crash, okay? There was nobody that was selling good cars. Come on. Coming in 2nd place is a car that is very, very recent, actually, just the past like couple years that got discontinued. It is a Dodge Viper. We already need it back. All right, Dodge, we already need it back. It's only been a couple years since we haven't had a Viper. Bring it back, buddy. The Viper was everything that makes American cars great in a nutshell. They didn't really sell well because they are a Dodge that's a supercar price tag, and most people that are going to buy an American supercar are going to go for the Corvette since they're a lot cheaper. But killing them off isn't going to help sales. I never understood that like thing. It's like, oh, if we stop, selling the Viper, then we'll get a lot more people buying our Dodge Rams. No, People want to buy a Viper because they want to buy a Viper. If you get rid of the Viper, now they're just not going to look at Dodge anymore. I'm going to be honest with you, I don't really have an interest in the Hellcat. I don't really have an interest in the Charger. I don't really have an interest in trucks, so I'm not a big Dodge Ram guy either. The only car from Dodge that I was like super into was the Viper, and you guys are getting rid of it. For what reason? It's one of the most unique supercars in the world. It's a front-mounted V10 that's naturally aspirated, that can make like 5,000 horsepower. Like, I'm not even joking, 5,000 horsepower. Talk about Calvo Vipers, freaking insane. They look great, and yeah, they're a little hard to control, but that's even cool. It's even more American, if that makes any sense. It's like, now you have a big old V10 in the front of a car that looks angry, and it spins out on you and can kill you at any second. America. And it was amazing. And yeah, they're expensive, so people weren't buying them that much. But how many people bought the damn Ford GT, okay? It's still a cool car. Coming in at first place, however, if you know me, you knew this car was going to be here because I freaking love it with all of my heart. It is the Mazda RX-7. This is my favorite car in the entire world. But I think everybody agrees here that the Mazda RX-7 should probably come back. It's even if you're not a big like JDM boy, I feel like we need to see another RX-7. Sure, the rotary is horrible, and it really doesn't really make much sense to bring a rotary back in terms of today's market, but that's what makes it so special, okay? Do you think that back in the 90s it was normal to put a rotary in your car? No. There was nobody doing it, but they still did it, and they still sold a lot of RX-7s because it was freaking cool. It's an absolutely amazing track car that you could swap it for anyway. Like, let's say you are really a big butt stinker and you don't want the rotary in your RX-7. That's fine. Put an LS in it. Okay, it's still a good car. The RX-8 was the last thing that we've seen of the whole RX line, as a matter of fact, and even that thing was pretty cool. It definitely didn't live up to the hype of the FD-RX-7, that's for sure, but the RX-8 was still a pretty cool car, and now Mazda has the Miata, and that's it. And a lot of people sleep on the ND Miata anyway, so to a lot of people, Mazda doesn't have anything. And bring back the RX-7. If you bring back the RX-7 Mazda, you will finally be a car company that's like worth talking about again. Just like Mitsubishi and Mazda. Listen to me. Listen to me. I'm not saying this because I'm an idiot car guy that doesn't know what he's talking about. No. If you bring back your RX-7 and you bring back your EVO and your Eclipse and you do it correctly, I guarantee your reputation is going to skyrocket up. And reputation sells cars, goddammit. Alright, that's the end of today's video, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said before, at the Honda S2000 part, I definitely went a little off script today. Definitely, started talking about through my feelings rather than my script. But you know what? I feel like it's needed. It's necessary when talking about idiot car brands and their stupid decisions that they make when it comes to discontinuing cars. It blows me away sometimes that, like think about Mitsubishi, guys. I know I mentioned this already twice in the video, but they literally have nothing nowadays. There's no reason to even bring up Mitsubishi in a conversation. There really isn't. If somebody asks you, if somebody asks a car guy, which that's what they do. I'm a car guy, and all my non-car friends always come to me and are like, yo, what car should I buy next? What car should I buy next? I never tell them to buy a Mitsubishi, not because they're bad cars, but because I don't think about them, because I don't have anything cool. I think about Nissans, I think about Subarus, I think about Hondas, I think about BMWs, so I tell them about those brands. And then they go buy one of those. Because I'm the car guy, so they listen to me, they take my advice because I know cars, and I'm not thinking about you, Mitsubishi, because you don't make anything cool anymore. Jesus, it frustrates me, man. It frustrates me seeing all of our favorite cars dying. The Hellcat is getting discontinued this year, the Audi R8 is getting discontinued, the GTR is getting discontinued, the Viper's discontinued. Like, what are we even gonna have? In a couple years, dude, we're gonna have nothing, and it's all because of idiot car brands and them thinking that they know what's best for their company when they don't. And it just makes me upset. But either way, guys, thank you so much for watching. Sorry about the rant of a video today, but like I said, I'm gonna definitely upload this because I think it's necessary. So das vidanya and have a nice night.